sim racing fans, and welcome to the first of two back-to-back Friday nights of championship racing on LSRTV. We're to kick off tonight's doubleheader, the final race, round 15 of 15 on the inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour Championship campaign, as we're getting set to let the P-Money Designs 200 wave green from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. It's time to rock and roll. We want to welcome you topside in the live sim racing TV broadcast hour. Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Josh Ball, along with LSRTV's executive producer Laura Lawson, pushing the buttons. As disheartening as it may be to look at the championship standings and see a 40-point deficit from runner-up Christian Peterson to the top of the pile, where Josh Hanner comes into tonight from looking to secure the hardware. It is far from that being the entire story, Andy, because as we've talked about for the last 2 weeks, with the drops in effect, 40 points is not 40 points at all.
No, it's not, and I think we were kind of figuring it might be 8 or 7 or something. Either way, Josh Hanner still has to run well tonight. It's not a 40-point start and park kind of thing, and he's going to win the championship. He's still got to put forth a solid performance. He's done it all season long. A top 5 finish here tonight would pretty much guarantee him a championship, and you know what? That's what he's been doing all season long. So it's basically his to lose. He's doing everything right all season long, but you still got to throw out some kudos there to Christian Peterson, because the way he's bounced back this second half of the season with wins and top 2 finishes, and he's just been really pouring it on, really making it a championship battle.
It has become that recently, and those drops is what has given Christian Peterson the opportunity to be in this conversation. It was last time out, not last week, because the trucks haven't been on track since the 18th of December, so welcome to the 2016 racing calendar for these guys. At Texas Motor Speedway, we saw our 8th different winner on the season. Tom Moustakas picked up his first W on the year. The week prior to that, Josh Hanner did the same, so 2 back-to-back first-time winners on the season. Hanner wants to make it number 2 tonight. There's other drivers in the points, to be fair enough to those guys, Josh. Guys like Rod Flag sitting 3rd in the points, Seth the Merchant, Ray Rittenauer, Kent Connolly, Shade Bakichin, through Rodney Wofford, Matthew Quick, and Corey Henry. Those are your top 10 in Truck Series points. We'll talk about them a little bit as the night goes on, but again, it is all about breaking down the math, because it is a 15-race championship. 12 races count, so we've done 14 races. Josh Ball has received, or rather Josh Hanner, he's received his 2 drop weeks so far of 3, so he's sitting 40 points ahead of Christian Peterson, but Christian Peterson's only going to make 12 starts on the season. Tonight's going to be the 12th time he's hit the grid, so he can earn up to 48 points tonight. That means that's an 8-point window in which he would be able to win this race. Now, with that being said, Joshua Hanner, whether he finishes really good tonight or bad, if he finishes in front of 11th is going to be his worst race still standing that drop. So you take 33 points for a P11 off, and again, it's only about 7 points or so. So you look at the board, you see 40, but Christian Peterson, he's been doing the math, and he knows that he is very much in this conversation.
Yeah, exactly, Evan. And Josh Hanner started the night off right. He's he will be on the pole for tonight's race with a 31.971. But like you said, there's a little bit iffiness between Peterson. He's starting 8th tonight, so it'll be interesting. And there's a lot of things different tonight. We got a couple different rules we'll go over that are new in 2016. We'll go over here in a couple minutes, but definitely a different race tonight. It should be great here at Homestead Miami Speedway for the finale.
Yeah, later on tonight with the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series drivers take to it, we go back to Talladega. Daytona could be the season finale for those guys next Friday night, but we're at the marquee event for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, the Xfinity, the Camping World Trucks. It all ends at Homestead, and tonight will ring true as well for the RoddCar Truck Tour Championship night. The P-Money Designs 200 is set to roll. The qualifying session is in the books, and let's take a look at your LSRTV starting grid. You talk about wanting to get the best starting spot, and on the defensive tonight is Josh Hanner. Not a bad showing for the Clemson Toyota Tundra. The 24 of Josh Hanner, the 31.971, going to get him the pole position for this season finale event. He'll start alongside Seth the Merchant, who snags the outside pole in P2. Just behind them, you'll find Rod Flag starting 3rd tonight outside. Round number 2 and 4th going to be the 94 of Frank Busilia, and then Corey Henry rounds out your top 5 qualifiers.
The Goodwrench Service Plus Chevrolet will go to the number 3 of Brandon Chaburko. He's going to roll off in that 6th spot. The 7th starting spot goes to the 23 of Jared Haggerty. 8th outside of row number 4 will be the 71 of Christian Peterson. Ben Nile in the 55 starts 9th and rolling off 10th here tonight, 92 of Rod Mitten.
Junior Motorsports driver Ryan Keefe will roll out 11th. On his outside, Rodney Wofford starts 12th. Shane McKeechin, Ryan Pylan round out the top 14, and James Pileski starts 15th.
16th tonight going to go to the Ford of Tommy Hall. He'll be trailed by Glenn Hendrick in 17th, 18th to Jimmy Todd, as well as Derek Walker starting 19th, and outside on row 10 and 20th, the 25 of Daniel Ferguson.
21st tonight will be Sean Turner. The 088 of Kent Connolly is going to roll off 22nd. 23rd goes to Ramon Evans. Matt Bontempi will start 24th. Last truck to take a qualifying time tonight will be the 87 of Ray Rittenauer. He's going to start 25th. And Jason Altman's in the 51 and Ron Thompson in the 22 will round out the 27 truck field here tonight at Homestead.
27 trucks, one of the bigger grids on the season. That means there are plenty of points up for grabs, and we'll let you set the calculators down for the race, and we'll make this very simple for you. If you're Josh Hanner and you want to win this championship, finish in front of Christian Peterson, and there's no way you lose it. If you're Christian Peterson, if you want a shot at the championship, you're going to have to finish in front of Josh Hanner. That's the objective that these drivers are going to head into this green flag with. If they can do that, they'll give themselves a shot, if not lock up that opportunity to walk away with the first ever RoddCar Truck Tour Championship trophy. And we're just a little bit under an hour, over an hour or so from determining who's going to be the inaugural champion. Let's get set to rock and roll. We're glad to have you with us on LSRTV at iRacing Live. The P-Money Designs 200 for the Homestead of Miami Speedway set to go. Green season finale, round 15. Green at a turn number 4. Championship leader Josh Hanner brings us down.
Great restart by both lines right there. It's on the outside, set the Merchant hanging tough, trying to get a good, decent run there. Hanner's going to actually move up to that high side off of turn number 2. He's going to block the progression now as Seth the Merchant. As you see Rod Flagg leading the charge on the inside. Here they go behind him, though, 3 wide. It looks like the 23 of Jared Haggerty looking to make some noise early on. That's going to push Brian Chaburko way up the racetrack there. Still 3 wide off 4.
And right in the middle of that, Corey Henry doing a good job. He moved up the racetrack, was able to give some room, didn't quite pinch Corey Henry on the bottom of the racetrack, sliding up the 23. Jared Haggerty going to get tight into the corner, way out of the gas is Christian Peterson. He got the short end of the straw. The 71 Chevrolet rolls out of the gas. Obviously wanted no part of that, and with that, he'll lose a lot of speed. And out from the front of the field, Seth the Merchant, the number 42, outside pole sitter, backed off the gas in turn number 2. He's going to drop to the back and out of that melee at the front of the field. That'll give Josh Hanner sole possession of the race lead. Battle still going on, though, just inside the top 10 in all of that championship. Hopeful Christian Peterson has found himself falling to 12th in the 71 truck.
Yeah, we got a lot of 2 wide, 3 wide action going on right now. Everybody trying to figure out where they want to run. The preferred line tonight is actually going to be the high side. Going to be able to keep a little bit more rubber on the tires, as throughout the whole season has been the biggest part. So tonight you'll see everybody trying to get to the outside. You know, some of the better trucks will be able to pass on the bottom, but they're going to want to get right back up there afterwards. Looks like everybody's starting to single file out now, getting a little bit of gap. Brandon Chaburko is up to the front now. He's right behind Frank Musiala and Josh Hanner. They're all looking to battle for the lead here in the next couple laps.
Is 2nd through 5th right now, started 4th, 6th, 7th, and 5th, so we got a lot of guys moving forwards early. With that being said, there are quite a few guys going backwards early. Brandon Chaburko going to make a quick work at a 94 at that time in 3 and 4. Ducked to the bottom, slid up as they came off of 4 in a long front straightaway to work down to turn number 1. Brandon Chaburko is going to be able to get to that number 2 spot. Was the fastest truck in a practice session to Josh Hanner, who leads, who was the 3rd fastest driver in the 40-minute practice session before qualifying got underway tonight. And Chaburko, they'll close it in after he feels like he missed the mark a little bit in the 5-minute open qualifying session. He's got clean air to get to the 24 now. Hanner riding a little bit lower on track than what you're seeing Chaburko doing at the moment. It's a progressive banking racetrack, though, at Homestead. 18 on the bottom, 20 topside. That means you're going to see a lot of guys searching around for grip tonight.
Yeah, you see that everywhere right now. We saw it even on the initial start there. Josh Hanner really going right to the top side early, and that was something we didn't expect. They expected at least down to the bottom for the first couple of laps, but he chose better of it, wanting to get up there and block it. But you'll see guys searching around all over the place and all over this track all race long, especially as the rubbers start getting laid into the track. So later on in the race, halfway point, maybe towards the end there, you'll see these guys really starting to search for grip. This track tends to be a lot looser as the tires start to wear off, so you'll definitely start seeing them moving higher and higher up the racetrack. And so far it's working out for Hanner, but he's got a mirror full right now. That 3 truck's on the move.
Early problems for the number 27, rather the 87 right now, who was in 27th position. He was forced down to the pit lane on the opening lap, got into the inside of retaining wall. He has decided to manually disconnect from the sim. We'll have our first DNF on the night for the driver of the 87. He'll get P27 of 27. We're left with 26 guys in the lead lap. At the back of that, the 36 of Sean Turner at the moment. But the battle for the race lead is on. It's Brandon Chaburko closing in on Josh Hanner. Tonight's race, 83 laps start to finish. Josh, that's the same length that these guys have been doing pretty much all season long at these intermediate racetracks. But Homestead is a very different intermediate racetrack, as we talked about, not just because of the progressive banking. There's no tri-oval, there's no quad-oval. We see that everywhere else. And Chaburko, you see to the inside of the racetrack, uses the side draft on that left rear quarter panel of Hanner to get up alongside him. A lot of momentum is needed at a track like this. Chaburko not going to be able to get the job done, though, that time after reacted into turn number 1 low. Power move down the bank out of 2. Hanner stays in front.
Yeah, so far it looks like Hanner is, just able to stay up front right now. It's no really challenge, a little bit from Chaburko, but it's just, it looks like it might be his night again to win this championship. Peterson fell back a couple positions since the start of the race, back to P11th now. Obviously, we talked about his troubles early on with a couple 3-wide action, but hopefully we'll get to see Peterson get up there and challenge, really make this championship a little bit more interesting. Everybody's still trying to get a little single filed out. People still racing a little bit. I expect to see the tires start to wear off here soon. So definitely something to keep an eye out. Who's saving, who's not saving here in the next couple laps.
And as soon as you mentioned tires, I had to go look at the track temperatures, and it's 110 degrees out there underneath these guys at Homestead, Miami, Florida. So hot conditions out there as well, not going to help the tires out that much at all. So the battle for the race lead continues to go on. In fact, Frank Wasilia, who got passed rather easily by Brandon Chaburko, now kind of getting close back into that gap as your leaders P1 and P2 begin to kind of mix things up. I do want to take a look back, though, at Chris Bassini, just behind him, rather, Christian Peterson, a little bit further in front now. He had actually fallen to about 13th position or so, Andy, after he got in a scary situation in the opening 2 laps. Backed it out, took it easy. It cost him 5 spots, but it was a lot better than being in the fence. He just put a move on James Pileski, or at least tried to, but now with Matt Bontempi passing him, looks like he'll kick the 71 machine back to P12. Not the speed at all that Christian Peterson has been hoping for.
Yeah, that exchange he had, which caused him to fall back. He's got a little bit of damage on that rear bumper, and you can see the spoiler actually pushed in, almost like he backed into a light pole right there. But so I'm not sure how much that's either hurting or if it's even helping him at all at the moment. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll see if his crew, obviously, when he gets down to pit road, can do anything with it. But for now, that might be the reason why his truck might be a little tight right now. He might not just have the handling where it needs to be. So we'll have to see how things play out here for him. But right now, struggling a little bit outside the top 10.
And I didn't mention Matt Bontempi making a move on Christian Peterson. He's gone 24th to 11th now. So the 20 machine getting at it, and Christian Peterson, he's not finding anything settling down in front of him. 2 wide with the 7 and the 28, the 93 and the 20 pushing down the front straightaway. These guys about 4.5 seconds or so, Josh, back behind the race leaders. They can't get separated from each other. The big thing is, with this season coming to a close in 2016, is these guys have now migrated over to the 2016 rules package, which means fixed setup. This series has been open all season long, partly maybe something that gave an advantage to Christian Peterson. We know that he and Seth the Merchant, teammates on 6-Man Motorsports, have been very good on the setup side, and the 71 nearly spun around at a turn 2. Peterson hangs on, but he is not enjoying the fixed setup at all. Drop him back down to 13th as Ryan Pilon will take a spot away from him.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just about to talk about some of the 2016 rules. That is one of them, just as you said, Evan. The Truck Series this year will be fixed. So now on Season 2 and the last race tonight will all be fixed setups. Also, one other thing to go back on, we said that Christian Peterson had a little bit of damage in the rear. Well, we also now have one quick repair. So any of the guys that feel a little bit unfortunate out there will definitely be able to have a chance to get back into the race. And as we take a look up front, there goes Brandon Chaburko back into the lead for the first time in the last 3 to 4 weeks at least. We haven't been around too much, but got around Josh Hanner about a lap ago and taken off to about a truck and a half length lead so far.
And it was not a friendly exchange either, I do want to note. You see the back bumper of that number 3 Chevrolet and Braden Chaburko got a little bit of damage on it. Well, that's courtesy of the front end of the 24 Josh Hanner. We saw Chaburko got up the inside the last time he tried to make a move, didn't get the run he needed to, so this time the 3 knew he had to get up and protect that 20 degrees of banking topside run out of turn 2. That's where that 24 got all of that built up speed, got back around him. The 3 machine slid up in front of him. Hanner not sure if he went for the crossover, couldn't get the car rotated in time, or if Chaburko might have shut the door a little bit more. Nonetheless, he got him, so the 24 passed a message to the number 3. Brandon Chaburko just going to point to the top of the scoring pylon as he takes over the race lead once again. And again, for Hanner, you want to get the win, you want to get your second win on the season, but P2 right now with Christian Peterson riding in 12th position, absolutely nothing uncomfortable with being in the spot that he's in right now.
Yeah, I was just going to mention something to that point, Evan, and don't force the issue. If this is the last 10 laps, yeah, go for it. Try to get that win away from them. But at this point in the race, with the 71 struggling, just ride. Log some laps right now. Get yourself over that hump of the halfway point. Get a couple pit stops under it. See what we can do with these, and just see how the track position plays out for Hanner. That's exactly what he's got to do. And we know him continuously all season long, really had a great truck on the long run. Obviously a fixed setup, maybe his driving style will change a little bit, not sure, but sometimes there's some guys that can really conserve tires under these fixed setups, and they can really get that thing going towards the end. So we'll see how this thing plays out probably in the next 20-25 laps or so, and we'll see if he can actually gain some ground back on Chaburko.
And as we continue to talk strategy, championship, and much more, I know we've been taking a look the last couple of laps. Jared Haggerty, as well as with Matt Bontempi, they're still in that pack that sits about 4 seconds off the race leader, where still everything continues to be ajar, side by side for the last couple of laps between the 93 and the 20. Bontempi on the inside of the racetrack topside is where you'll find Pileski. Now the 7, Rodney Watford. Watford tried to make a move on Haggerty. That didn't work. Shane McKeechan going to go to his inside as well, so that's another side-by-side fight. The 2 wide, 2 rows deep, P9 through 12 in turn number 1.
Yeah, and Evan, I think with this fixed setup, you're going to see a lot of group racing. A lot of guys that aren't able to go out there really test during the week and see, these fixed setups are made for the track, and unless you figure out where the best place to run them is and how hard to run them, a lot of guys are going to be right together. As we see, the 2-wide battle's been happening pretty much since Matt Bontempi into the inside wall. I think that was off the front end of James Pileski. Maybe not, but the caution's going to come out for the first time tonight.
And the first thing that I was looking at there is I saw some trucks get turned to the bottom. Their noses were pointing up, and I was looking to see where Christian Peterson would be when those guys would slide back up on track. The caution does come out. He's not going to be involved in it. The contact is between the 23 and the 20. Almost looks like the 20 just didn't see Haggerty there. No, even the 23 would have come down a little bit as well. Those two guys just end up getting into each other. We were following along with that battle. They get turned to the bottom. Jared Haggerty does a great job of keeping that truck out of the inside wall. By doing so, he had to throttle back up track, and it put him back into the line of fire. It was a tough hit for Matt Bontempi, who smoked that inside pit lane wall. He'll take advantage of the newly implemented one quick fix rule that comes back to the RoddCar Truck Tour. Haggerty slid up, though. It looks like nobody really got into him, so they get away scot-free on that one. So with that, we slow him down for the first time tonight, and that means pit stops for the first time. Lap 23 of 83 is going to lead us down pit side. Brandon Chaburko, the first driver in.
Yeah, I don't expect anyone really to make any major gambles like a two-tire stop or anything like that on this one. We ran over 20 laps. You'll see all these front runners getting 4 tires, packing it full of fuel, getting ready to get back out there. Obviously, the crews are going to dictate how well they come off of pit road, and if we could see if we can get Hanner to maybe take that top position back from Chaburko or not, but we'll see as the crews all get the service done on these trucks right now. And like I said, no major gambles on these. It's just going to be 4 tires, fuel, and they'll be down and away.
The drivers now begin to exit the pit lane. It looks like Christian Peterson is going to stay pit side to get some damages fixed on that race truck. Brandon Chaburko, the first driver out. Hanner will come out in second, so no changes 1, 2, or 3, with Frank Wasilia being the third fastest truck out of service. With Christian Peterson, we talked about the damage on the number 71 machine. Stays down to the pit lane, gets it fixed up a little bit, but with that machine now running towards the tail end of the lead lap, it's going to be an uphill battle for the next 60 laps if he wants to get back into this conversation. We look back on a season that has stemmed so far 14 of the 15 races. We wrap it up here tonight, the first time that these trucks have been a part of our LSRTV Friday night doubleheader. It has been some exciting stuff. We mentioned through 14 races, we've seen 8 different winners. We saw almost 2 months, if not more, guys, where we only got back-to-back winners, which was interesting. First-time winners, new drivers into the series. But I think it's somewhat fitting to have a guy like a Josh Hanner be in the conversation to get the win. With the conversation in this series being a lot of names that we haven't seen a lot in the Super Speedway Cup side of things on Friday nights. Although they've been good, the seasoned veterans have been just a little bit better. But, I mean, even in a scenario where guys that I said at the beginning of the broadcast we're probably not going to talk all that much about, but we should. A guy like a Rod Flag, who's third in the championship, a Seth the Merchant, who's fourth as well. Everybody has been very good at the consistency factor, because although we don't have a chase, we have drop weeks. That's something that we don't see later on Fridays. So this is a completely different series than what these guys are used to. Completely different format, and the same guys are still fast. So when you watch later on tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern, they can do more than hold it down and go in a big circle all night long. These guys know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the guys you're saying, they're up there in the high super speedway chase. We've had Josh Hanner's also going for the Super Speedway Cup season championship this year. Rodney Wofford, he's been a big name in this series as well. DeMerchant, as we were talking about, Peterson's also going for it. So, we got a lot of guys that are about the same, but like you said, there's other guys that aren't. We have a couple newcomers, Ray Rittenauer, which he wasn't close right now in the Super Speedway Cup, but it was a totally different series. We were running open setups this year, which next year it's going to change, or we're already changed. But, it's going to be different. It's going to make the racing a little bit evener. If that's a word. Yeah, I mean, I just all jumbled 2016. I have not been able to talk right. I haven't talked in 3 weeks. So, yeah, but everybody's out there trying their best, a little bit closer together. I think that's a better word than evener. But, we'll see what everybody brings out tonight. A lot of the same guys that are up there each and every week. Rod Flag, Brandon Chaburko, Josh Hanner. They're up there tonight. So, it should be a good race. Let's see what happens in the next couple of laps.
I like that word.
The only thing that Evener reminds me of is when Andy tries to say Team Evenen's last name on Tuesday nights. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Evener.
I figured it out.
Maybe we'll just call Evan Evener.
There you go. We'll just throw an R onto it.
Yeah.
Well, Hanner's got one, and he's sitting P2. Let's see what the 24 can do. All eyes topside, though. Brandon Chaburko, for the first time tonight, the restart at a turn number 4. The pace car going to get down of the way. They head to the American Ethanol. Go zone. Green flag flies. Back and away we go. Good jump for the bottom. The 94 of Busilla going to be on the back bumper of the Good Red Surface Chevrolet to turn number 1. Hanner topside's got to try to wind her up, but as they get to speed, 3-car topside. Busilla going to hold the bottom side by side for the race lead down the back.
That's a pretty good move right there by Frank Busilia, and jumping to the bottom like that, you know, the tires got all the grip. This is the time to, trouble behind these guys. The 28 into the wall. Looks like Shane McKeechin made some contact. Now we got trucks around, the 12s involved. Caution is out. The 55 of Ben Nile also involved, but that started heading into turn number 3 with the 28 of Shane McKeechin.
Christian Peterson not going to be involved in this accident again. My first instinct is look for that championship contender. This accident started inside of the top 5, though, just behind the side-by-side fight with Rod Flagg and Ryan Keese. And, I mean, it looks like the 93 machine, obviously the one that instigates the contact. That's James Pileski trying to arc the corner, obviously. I think he knows that Shane McKeechin's there. I think he just brought it a little bit too wide into the corner, trying to arc that thing in, and then McKeechin got in the fence. We thought they had it at that point, but then they went 4 wide trying to get around the slow 28 and quite a lick into the fence as the 55 of Ben Nile gets turned into the outside wall courtesy of Corey Hedbury as those 4 guys tried to squeak through the bottom. They ran out of room, and it's going to be a 3-truck accident immediately off of the restart. That time in turn number 3, going to slow us back down again. And with that, at about lap 30, we get set to cross over and now quickly approach the halfway point in this P-Muddy Designs 200. Second yellow on the night puts Frank Basilia to the top spot. The number 94 machine leads at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We'll take this opportunity, take a quick yellow flag of our own, and go to a quick commercial break. More coverage of the RoddCar Truck Tour on LSRTV coming up on the other side. Back at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, the lights are off on top of the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car. With that, we get set for what's going to be the second restart, working under our second caution flag. This one came when we were all grouped back up, coming off of our first yellow with a restart in turn number 3. 3 drivers involved from inside of the top 10. No major championship contenders are in the mix. Shuffles up the running order just a little bit more, though, this time. Frank Basilia going to stay out, hang on to the race lead. Chaburko falls to second. It's Keese, Flagg, and Pileski through to the top 5. Josh Hanner, though, the 24 pit side, falls to 19th. Christian Peterson in 15th at the moment, his championship counterpart. We'll see how this restart brings us some more action to pace car. Going to go down and away, Basili on the inside of the racetrack. The controlled truck, green flag in the air, back at it at Homestead, lap 32 to the works, and down to turn number 1. Chaburko's got a nose length advantage, but because he's on the top side, not going to be as quick. Look at Ryan Keese to the inside, 3 wide for the race lead.
Yeah, taking advantage of those fresh tires still. Ryan Keese now to the inside, door to door, almost making contact with Frank Busilia down the back straightaway. Still going to battle for that lead into turn number 3. Chaburko now looking on from behind, trying to figure out which lane to go. Maybe even split them down the middle and go 3 wide. Still off of turn 1, side by side, or turn 4, excuse me. They're side by side for the lead, back into 1.
And that inside is an advantage on the restart. That's how Basilia got the lead from Brandon Chaburko. But once you're up to full song, you want that top side, and both the 94 and the 3 going to clear him out of turn number 2. Chaburko back end every which way, but underneath them sent him to the bottom. But nonetheless, Ryan Keese made the gamble. It looked good, but he couldn't execute in time, Josh, and he'll fall back to 3rd.
Yeah, it's almost like having the outside and the super speedways down the backstretch. You get that little bit, for the first lap, you're a little bit ahead, but then as soon as everybody gets up to full song, the 92 going around there in turn number 1. That's the number Rod Mitten. He's going to, contact. With the 24. The 24's in it, Josh Hanner.
Caution flag will fly at lap number 34, and it's big problems in turns number 1 and 2. Yellow will drop for the 3rd time on the evening, and it was a close call for a lot of guys. Some guys, though, weren't able to avoid all of that one. It'll start with the 92 of Rod Mitten. We'll show you the replay now. Jared Haggerty going to instigate the contact here as the 23 pushes up. That's about identical, though, Andy, to what we saw in turn 3 2 yellows ago with James Pileski just not arcing it in as soon as that guy topside would have thought, or maybe just push it up a little bit more than even he wanted to. He goes up, tags Rod Mitten. Mitten's into the fence, and again, they were okay after that, but the 93 couldn't keep it in the wall. Came back down, a hard lick to Derek Walker, and I think at that number 24 machine of getting through this one, I believe Josh Hanner made it through without a scratch. I don't know how, but that looks like a clean truck at a turn 2.
Yeah, I hope we get a replay of on board with him, because he made some really good moves right there. And it got really close there a couple times with some trucks backing down the high banking there. So that's a price you pay for making a mistake like you did, having to start in the back, and there you have it. Able to get through this one, but we'll have to see how many more he'll be able to get through, or if he can get some of this track position back and get back up to the front.
And he'll come down pit side to get some service to get qualified on pole, so he'll go all the way down to the end of pit road. He'll drive right through pit road, so Hanner going to go to the race lead, assuming that he doesn't want to come back down the next time through. But I was actually going to question the fact that that 24 would be coming down anyways, Josh, because you feel like if somebody in this is going to be having to play the strategy card and mix things up, it's not going to be Josh Hanner because he's in front. I would expect Christian Peterson to be the one going off schedule. Well, Peterson's been on with everybody else. It was Hanner who actually elected to come down to the pit lane, the caution prior to this one, which came really, again, just 3/4 of a lap after they were just down for service. Hanner stayed out, everybody else had, but Peterson was out, and it was Hanner the one that came down. So he was back, I mentioned, in 20th spot. Peterson was about 15th or 16th. So as they ran then, that was a picture that would give Christian Peterson a legitimate shot at the championship. Hanner now stays out. He's back to where he was before he pulled the pit strategy card, but he's at a little bit of a tire disadvantage, so he's kind of gotten himself off kilter.
Honestly, I expect to see the 24 to come back down pit road. Most of the time, if he's on this strategy that he was just playing, he's going to come down pit road so he doesn't get a black flag going down later, and he's going to come and get some 4 fresh tires here soon. But that's my opinion. I think he's going to come back down. He might stay out there, but Seth the Merchant, Christian Peterson's teammate, actually moved up to second place or first place, depending on what Josh Hanner does throughout that pit cycle. So it'll be interesting because right currently sitting, Peterson is actually P10. So he's come back up through the field a little bit. He will be P9 if Hanner comes down, which we'll still wait to see. Probably come down with 1 lap to go. And honestly, I'm not sure, Evan. It could come down to fuel here. I don't know if they can go the distance now. I think they can, but I'm not 100% positive.
Fuel is always in the conversation with the rules package that these guys are running on with one quick repair but a 70% fuel cell. Pit stops more frequent than you would expect for a race that's scheduled at 83 laps in that as well, and I still don't think it's going to be an issue tonight, which is why we really haven't talked about it all that much, but it has ended races so far in this season prior ending, and that's the time limit, 65 minutes from when the green flag drops to when you can end this race. We've seen it cut races short by 2 laps. We've seen it cut races short by 10-plus laps. Don't think we're really in a red spot right now for that. We still have about 35 minutes on the clock, and we're about 5 laps away from the halfway point. But all of that has to play into your strategy, which is why for some of the bigger teams and a couple of guys that they have buddies in here spotting for them and crew chiefing for them, that's when it helps to have somebody on top of that virtual pit box because they can keep track of all of those different scenarios, let you drive the car.
Yeah, that makes it a big helpful thing right there if you could get a spotter. And they can read you off lap times and take care of your fuel, let you know when to pit, let you know your tire wear. All you have to do is concentrate on driving. That is a pretty big deal for some of these guys. So, yeah, it is a good advantage to have somebody up on the box for you and calling you through these races. It definitely helps, keeps you calm. But other than that, you know, it's going to be interesting here to see how things shake out. I don't think we're in trouble as far as time goes, though.
Another restart set to go, and Josh Hanner going to stay out under this most recent swinging yellow flag pit stop. So be the race leader. Green flag back in the air, 3 wide on row number 4. Going to bottom Jason Oatmans to the inside on James Pileski. He'll get 2-3 spots. Now Chaburko going to make it 3 wide for second behind your race leader to the inside on Basilian. The 42 of DeMerchant makes it side by side for the lead, and 3 wide now for third.
Yeah, everybody bouncing off everybody. Another contact between the 71 of Peterson and the 42. That everybody's battling. Up into the wall. Oh, everybody saved it. I don't know how. Everybody's 3 wide, 4 wide. Everybody, they're barely holding on to it.
They fanned out to turn 3, and they ran out of all that room coming out of turn number 4. Somehow they stay off each other for the most part, and Brandon Chaburko to the race lead after restarting in 5th position. It only took him to turn 4 to get the job done. Hanner tried to cross him over. That did not work with the equal tire disadvantage that he's sitting on, so he'll have to mellow out in P2. Behind him, car up into the outside of retaining wall. That's James Pileski, the 93 car. His momentum all but gone. He drops outside of the top 10.
Yeah, he had a lot of help right there from Frank Basilia. It looked like Frank pushed up in the middle of the corner there a little bit tight, made contact. That's what sent the 93 of Pileski up into the wall. So he was able to keep it straight, though. We'll stay green flag racing here, but that's exactly what that was. Just a little too much tightness for the 94 there, center of the corner, and that causes more trouble for the 93. So Frank Basilia, though, still struggling in that 5th spot. Looks like he's about to lose it here. Coming down into turn number 1, Rodney Wofford and Ryan Keese all right there just behind him. Pylons there, Rod Flagg, and the 71 of Christian Peterson.
And now contact behind James Pileski, contact with the 20 with Glenn Hedrick. That is well behind the battle that we're looking at inside of the top 10 that has Ryan Pilen on the outside of the racetrack. And for Rod Flag on the bottom, who's had a very quiet night so far, started third, has kind of dwindled back to Pete Ida right now. He's trying to go forwards on the inside of the racetrack. Normally at cookie cutter tracks, you want to go to the bottom. That's where everybody else gangs up on you. Surprising amount of cars, though, that are actually going to the top side. So instead of having everybody in one lane and you add a line, that 26 Rod Flag, he hasn't gained anything. He hasn't lost anything, though, on that 41 Ryan Pilen. And then that 23 Jared Haggerty, 2 spots behind him, said, hey, instead of running on the top side behind the 41 and the 71, I'll go down, try the bottom, see if it works. If not, I'll jump back top side. So you can move that car around the track and do something with it. Look at the big run by Peterson, thought about 3 wide. That door is slammed shut for championship hopeful. He needs at least 9 more spots to get up to second place runner Josh Hanner, the 71 machine, doing a good job of fighting through some tough spots he found himself in, but overall is not going forwards. He still sits -2 from where he started.
Yeah, and I think this fixed setup is definitely making a lot more racy out there. A lot of guys, we just saw off that green flag, there was 20 cars within half a second of each other, and that's not a super speedway. That's here at Homestead, and they all about wrecked, and everybody was able to hold on. So, when everybody has the same setup and the same fresh tires going into the turn, they're going to try everything, because it's going to stick 1 or 2 turns. After that, however much you use up is going to be is going to hurt you. But it looks like it's starting to fan out a little bit. Not too much. Everybody's still bundled right up as Taberco still leads, but Jason Holtmans was able to take over 3rd place from Frank Busiala. So he is now up to P3, and he was right on the back door of Josh Hanner, except for a little bobble there at turn 3 and 4.
They run right on each other still, P3 and 4. Jason Altman's biggest mover in this race started P26 on a provisional and now running in 3rd. The Best Buy Geek Squad Toyota doing a good job of moving his way forward. However, the 94 Frank Vasilia got past. Not giving up, though. The 94 going to go back to the inside this time to turn number 3, and he'll get the spot right back just as easily and move Altman's back to P4. And at 42, Ascent the Merchant might want to take a swing at the 51 if he can get to him. This just about half a second behind Brandon Taberco, who is not comfortably out in front at just 0.3 of a second, but he's sitting pretty good right now in front of the field as we cross the halfway point at lap number 47 now. 4 laps past the middle marker in the P-Money Designs 200. Let's take a look at your iRacing.com midway race leaderboards in the season finale. Brandon Taberco out in front, searching for what would be a record 5th trip to victory lane on the season, is out in front right now. Josh Hanner, your championship leader into tonight, runs in 2nd. Frank Vasilia is 3rd. 4th is Jason Altman's in Ascent the Merchant right now in 5th spot. 6th is Ryan Keese. Rodney Wofford in 7th. 8th is Rod Flag. Christian Peterson 9th. And rounding out your top 10 as we go right now is Ryan Pilen.
Running 11th right now is a 23 of Jerry Haggerty. Kent Connolly sits 12th. 13th is Tommy Hall. Daniel Ferguson is 14th. 15th right now is Jimmy Todd. Sean Turner runs 16th. Shane McKeechin in that 28 machine runs 17th. 18th goes to Glenn Hedrick. James Pileski in 19th, and Ron Thompson rounds out the top 20.
P21 right now. Corey Henry not having the greatest of nights. Ramon Evans sits behind him, actually just past him on the speedway. Derek Walker sits about 15 seconds back in P23. Rod Minton still in the race, just off right now, 7 laps down. He's still on the pit road trying to get things fixed up. Ben Nile, Matt Bontempi, Ray Raynauer are all done for the night. That rounds out your mid-race report.
And those back 3, for the most part, had problems much earlier on in this race. Other than that, all things considered, still plenty of good racing going on from the front to the back in your iRacing.com midway race leaderboard. Go to iRacing.com. Check out the wide variety of racing possibilities on the web today. Battles, as I mentioned, P5, P10, P15, all the way throughout, but what is starting to come more into focus as the laps wind down to now just 33 laps to go. This time is Josh Hanner still sitting comfortably in 2nd, still sitting and rather struggling, I'd say, back into P9 as Christian Peterson. A P9 is not a bad run, but when you're going up against a Josh Ball, Andy, I know we talked about the drops we're saying that that 24's drop, unless he has a bad finish here tonight, is a P11. If P11 is your third worst finish on the season, you're doing something right, and I think it's a big factor, the fact that these guys went to the 2016 rules package for this final race on the year. With that being said, that is a huge disadvantage, I think, for Christian Peterson tonight, which is interesting because Josh Hanner, the guy that was making the base setup for the open set so far, he's really taken a liking to this fixed setup. He'll lead the green flag pit stop cycle off at lap number 51, but certainly that is a huge rule change, and it's clear who it's working for.
Yeah, it is working, and even Brandon Chaburko very strong under the fixed setup. Josh Hanner, though, leading himself down to pit road. I'm not sure if this is pretty much scheduled. I think from here they can make it to the end, so I guess for him he was deciding, let's go down, make it happen right now. He is going to go down a lap, so Josh Hanner needs this thing to stay green and let everybody else cycle through their pit stops. I really didn't expect him for at least another 10 laps or so come down, so maybe a little short pit call for the 24 machine right here, and we do know he stayed out that last time, so he obviously had a couple laps less of fuel than these other leaders. So Frank Busilia takes over the lead. Jason Altman's right there, right behind him.
And Altman's going to follow a spot now, and now two, because up the inside, Ryan Keese kind of sneaks through. We were just talking about how it was Seth the Merchant there in third at the time. Contact in turn one. I think they were able to stay off each other, but Altman's got in hot and nearly got into the right rear of Ryan Keese. I don't think there was contact, and now that 10 pedaling down the back to the inside, side by side, for the race lead, and at lap number 54, Ryan Keese trying to feel the taste at the number one spot. Can't get there, though, quite yet. Basilia not going to roll over. Power move top side to defend. Stays in front.
Yeah, and I think actually the 51 and 10 were having a little back and forth there. 10 got up into him a little bit in the last couple laps. 51 went to block, didn't like it. The 10 bumped him in the rear, and then it looked like the 51 tried to pay him back, but it actually just got into the wall off of turn number 2 there. Trying a little race a little bit hard. Looks like he's going to try to go down pit road right now and get those tires fixed up. But as we go back, looking at the lead, Frank Busiala still out in front. Ryan Keese challenging again on the bottom. See if he can get it done. That high side, though, is the preferred line. So unless Keese can has some tires left that we don't know about, I think Busiala will be able to hold him off for at least another couple laps.
And the outside, it's such a stubborn lane to sit in because, again, you might not be quicker, but you got the run off the corner. You're forcing that guy to the inside of the racetrack and telling him it's open, go for it, but he's going to have a little bit of a better run through you in that corner, if not have a little bit more speed overall if he actually wants to complete that pass. That's why we always say it's one thing to catch somebody, it's a completely different thing to pass them. You can throw a slide job on him. We've seen Brandon Chaburko do that earlier on in the night. Ryan Keese probably doesn't want to get on the bad side of the 94 tonight, so he'll take it easy. They're battling for the race lead, but again, they both know and they're well aware that we saw coming down and kicking off the cycle of pit stops was Josh Hanner. He's now one lap down in 23rd position. A caution now would throw things way off kilter because the 24 is not currently in the lucky dog position. Brandon Chaburko, Derek Walker have both pitted, and they sit in front of him in the running for that lucky dog at the moment. But those guys up front, they know that they're still going to have to pit. They're not going to be too aggressive at this juncture, but with 25 laps to go the next time by, when they get back out there, they probably won't be playing as nice as Keese to take another look, this time at turn number 2.
Yeah, he's definitely Ryan Keese is definitely trying to make things happen here tonight. We've seen him have some good runs all season long, just hasn't been able to put it all together in one shot and finish the thing off right. He's going to slide up right now in front of Frank Busilia, give him the lead. Frank Busilia, though, to the inside, a crossover move right now, looking back toward the inside. The problem is he gave up that high side, so now Ryan Keese gets to enjoy the high side. We'll see if he can do anything with it off of turn number 2. There he goes, momentum carrying Keese, still your leader down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Ryan Keese going to make sure that Frank Busilia knows what he had to deal with for a couple of laps. The 10 machine doesn't roll over. A new race leader at lap number 59. The 10 of Ryan Keese goes in front of the field. And now it's a waiting game. We know that Hanner had a little bit less on fuel, had a little bit older tires from staying out, but that was just about 3 laps. So that is no longer a factor because he pitted more than 3 laps ago. We wait for the next person to come down pit side. I've always been a fan of the short pit strategy. If you see somebody inside of the top 5, Josh, I would imagine that would force everybody else to come down to the pit lane. If nobody makes that move sooner than later, as we see the 3 of Brandon Chaburko, that's what fresh tires look like. Filing up the inside of the racetrack, actually contact with the 10 of Ryan Keese. Sideways is Chaburko. He will save it. A close call between lap traffic and your race leader. Going to make us 3 wide to turn number 1. I don't know how much longer these guys want to wait. That almost went bad real quick.
Yeah, and looks like there's a little bit of problems going on between the Junior Motorsports and a couple of those guys with Frank Busiala, partnerships with Brandon Chaburko and Jason Altman's. Might be a little on-track issues going on between those two teams, but Christian Peterson, I just wanted to point out, is up to 5th place now with Josh Hanna running 16th. That still probably isn't enough, but it's definitely better than he was doing earlier. So I was also looking at the lap times, and they're not that much different. I know we just saw Brandon Chaburko, blow by everybody and take over the lead, but they're really actually not even a second difference from the times that we're seeing Ryan Keese running right in the leader right now at a 33.7 to Josh Hanner, say, at a 32.9. So, not a whole second. So, there might be a couple of guys that if Frank Busiala can stay out there, Rodney Wofford, Seth DeMercher, or even Christian Peterson, if they have enough fuel to go to the end, they might be able to stay out and stay ahead of those guys. So it'll be interesting to see what everybody's strategy is here going forward.
Always an unknown coming down to the end because, again, the length of these races, Andy, these races aren't that long. They take just shy of an hour to run normally green flag action on the night. We very quickly go from being 30 laps in to being at halfway. Next thing you know, you're not that far from the finish. So a lot of the time, this pitch strategy can sneak up on you and not give you a whole lot of notice when it's all going to kick off. That's where you mentioned somebody has to keep an eye for you, maybe on the pitch strategy and all of that. Well, this is a perfect example why you have to be prepared for something like this to break out.
Yeah, long green flag runs like this are typical pretty much at Homestead. You'll see these guys, the green flag pit stops are what's going to make or break a lot of these guys and whether they're going to have the opportunity to stay, to keep the lead and maybe get this thing to run all the way to the end. So barring any sort of somewhat caution, I believe you're going to have to see everybody at least come in for that final time, including Ryan Keese. But we'll see how you might want to save the fresh tires for late in the race. So, coming down pit road right now is just not going to cut it for his strategy. It all depends on what these guys want to do and what they have. And, if I had the perfect strategy, I'd be down there in the box instead of here.
We can only speculate what they're thinking of. Rodney Wofford, as we just mentioned, is down on the pit lane for service. The number 7 machine coming in, and it looks like that truck is damaged quite some as well. So he'll continue to sit in there and get service. And actually, he nailed the pit road wall when he came down. Something that we really didn't mention, the fact that there's these access roads from when you come down to the pit lane. It's flat. There's a lot of opportunity to gain time. Well, Rodney Wofford drove it into the barrels after Seth the Merchant got sideways in front of him, and Wofford is absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, and I was just going back and looking at that, Evan. He was up on those barrels, and he had to take a reset because there was no other way. A tow, because he couldn't get down unless somebody would have came along and hit him. There was no way that 7 would have gotten down there. As you see the replay up on your screen, it's just the 42 got out of control there a little bit coming into the pits, as we see every week. He's able to hold on to it, but the 7 just wasn't able to follow him, and unfortunately got up on those the water barriers, I guess you'd call them, and he just got stuck there and had to take a tow. Unfortunate for his night.
And that's going to throw him down real quickly, as that car pretty damaged again because he had to take the tow. Even if he does have his quick fix still available, it's going to cost him significant time until he can get that applied. Basically, for Rodney Wofford, his night will come to a premature close. Ryan Keese continuing to stay out on the racetrack. You see Rod Flag, the 26, another one of the drivers that has been down pit road, had service completed, got back out there. that is the speed difference in about a lap. You're looking at least 2 to 3 seconds, if not more, how much slower you are on old tires than new tires. So the longer Keith stays out here, the more time he continues to lose to these guys that have already completed service. Brandon Chiverko was the first driver that got service, got back out, and unlapped himself. He's now in P10, 26 seconds behind, but your pit stop delta from getting down to speed into turn 3, taking the access road all the way around, pitting, getting back out is much more than 26 seconds of time. So if this continues to cycle through, and if those, I guess the top 9 guys really that still have to come down to the pit lane, assuming that they have to come pit side, Brandon Chiverko would go to the race lead. Josh Hanner would then be in second, but these guys not giving up hope in front of the field.
You can't give up hope. Anytime you're leading or you're up front, you got to have the opportunity, or you think you have the opportunity to pull out a win here. So I am surprised Ryan Keys, after with all these guys coming down pit road, has decided to stay out. Obviously losing a ton of time right now, especially to those guys like Hanner and Chiverko, who have the fresher tires on the trucks currently, and running probably about a second and a half faster than our race leader right now, Ryan Keys. So. And you talk about having those access roads. Those are so important when it comes to a pit stop here, and important because you can lose so much time on them. I believe you mentioned that, plus the fact that they're so flat, and you try to get everything you possibly can, because the speed limit doesn't happen until you hit the cone on pit road. So, that access road, it gets so tempting to really hammer down and try to get everything you can out of it. But you got to be so careful when you tiptoe around there.
Ryan Keith's going to be the next driver to do that dance. He's on the pit lane in turn number 4. He's on that access road to be able to get down pit side, a little bit sideways in, but he'll get down and get to service without further issue. That'll put Frank Basile to the race lead, 3 wide, inside for Haggerty, top side. The 7 machine going 3 wide is Rodney Wofford. Both of those are lap trucks, and I am surprised by how many drivers, assuming that Keith's coming down now, I would assume that that's the white flag for them, Josh. They're giving up. They're not going to be able to go the rest of this race without getting any more fuel. If that's the case, I'm surprised that so many drivers took such a big gamble.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I'm not sure why they did, if that's the case. Because maybe if they were hoping for a caution, to make sure that the other leaders would have had to come back down to have a chance, that might have been a reason they would have stayed out. But right now, as it sits, if Brandon Chiverko takes back over the lead here, there's only 6 trucks that have not pitted in front of him. Now take that down to 3 trucks, only Shane McKeechin, Pileski, and Frank Busiella. He will have over a 3.5 second lead on Josh Hanner, and that's pretty big. That's going to be definitely hard to overcome for that 24 truck if it continues on.
We'll see if this one's got any more late twists and turns involved in it. Brandon Chiverko still 21 seconds back. Inside of 10 laps to go at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Not going to catch these guys unless they still have to head pit side. We await Frank Basilia, James Pileski, and Shane McKeechin to show us their final card. Spinner, something going on down in turn number 1. A whole lot of smoke going into the corner. James Pileski on the radio. It's contact with him and Ramon Evans. The 83 and the 93 are going to get into each other in turn number 1, and a heated exchange over the radio is all that comes from it, though. No yellow.
Yeah, that was a close call right there. Obviously staying green. That's exactly what Frank Busilia needed, though, was a caution right there. Put him on the same pace with what were the leaders in Brandon Chiverko and Josh Hanner. But, listen, it is what it is. Let's race it out. A little bit of heat. Some guys are getting a little angry. Obviously, last race of the season. If you're not battling for that championship, you're out here for some pride. So, you want to get everything you can and get the best finish possible to carry that momentum into next season.
Next season, not all that far away either, literally and figuratively. We're looking at just about 8 laps to go, and then once tonight done, Next season gets kicked off in just a couple of weeks here, maybe even 2 or 3 weeks, I think, once these trucks guys get back to points racing for season 2, which, by the way, you'll be able to find right here on LSRTV. Until then, though, he's still going to crown a champion. Right now, Josh Hanner in P5. His counterpart in the championship, Christian Peterson, down in 16th position, has completed service, 1 lap down. Without a doubt, if this is the order that they do finish in, it is going to be a Josh Hanner championship that we'll be celebrating at the end of the night this evening. It's a P5 for him, though, at the moment. Not only is that championship up for grabs, but as Andy had just mentioned, Josh, there's still the last race of the year. You still want to win it, and there's still a trophy on the line. And Frank Basilia is committed to this strategy, trying to ration off that fuel to get to the end. He can back her way down if he needs to. He's got 18 seconds to play with.
And that's exactly what he's doing. He is about a second and a half slower than Brandon Chaburko on that last lap. He has really slowed it down. I've actually went to a different camera angle, and he's got an inboard car camera, and he's actually turning it off going into the turn. So it should be interesting to see if he can save enough. It's going to be a very long run to see if he can actually hold on to it, but he is really slow right now. But like you said, 18 seconds still ahead of Brandon Chaburko and only a couple laps left. If anybody can do it, that's the only chance of Brandon not winning, is if Frank can hold on and save as much as possible. He was 18 seconds ahead that last lap. We're about to see Brandon come across the stripe here in a second. And now the lead is down to still 17 seconds. So, if Frank can hold off, he's going to win this race.
Gotta make it across the start-finish line. That's all he's looking for this time by the Donati Ford of Frank Basilia. He'll take lap number 80, and that leaves him with just 4 laps to go. Now in the window in which a caution flag is to fly, this race would end at a slowed yellow flag pace to end the season. If we stay green to the end, it'll be Frank Basilia taking the checkered flag at about 140 miles an hour. He's shaking the car, though, down the back straightaway. He's going to get forced down to the access road. That's it. 4 laps shy on fuel. He doesn't have enough.
That's unfortunate right there for the 94 Frank Basilia. He's going to have to surrender the lead, surrender it right to the number 3 at Brandon Chaburko. So Chaburko and everybody else, that strategy is what worked. Frank Basilia is going to take a huge hit in the standings this time when it comes down. For him, with only this couple laps left to go in this thing, it really should just be a fuel only, just enough to get him to the end. Hopefully stop some of the bleeding at least, but he's going to fall way down in the standings.
And we questioned the strategy, and if it worked, we would have owed him an apology, but that's pretty much as close to the definition of so close but so far you can get, because you're very close to the end, but 4 laps, that's a huge gamble that they were taking. If they would have made it, it would have been extremely impressive. I just don't think there was any way that was going to work. But hey, nothing on the line for those guys. They went for it.
Yeah, exactly. And he had last pitted on lap 36, so he went 44 and a half laps there on that run. That's stretching it a lot, but fortunately just a couple laps short, as just like you said, he has surrendered the lead to Brandon Chaburko. Seth the Merchant sits P2 now, in between Hanner in the lead. Hanner's P3. Rod Flag sits 4th. Jason Altman's in 5th position. It looks like Frank Basilia is going to fall back all the way to about 15th position on the field, 14th actually. So lost about 13 positions there. Still on the lead lap, so that was pretty good, but unfortunately his race winning hopeful is done for the night.
And Brandon Chaburko still has a comfortable gap at 2.4 seconds over what was at times second place runner Josh Hanner, backing way out of the gas. He doesn't want to be in any sort of battle on this last lap. He's giving the spots away. All he wants is a checkered flag. Brandon Chaburko, he'll gladly accept his 5th of the season. Turn 4, checkered flag to fly. Brandon Chaburko, race winner for the 5th time on the year at Homestead Miami Speedway, and crossing the line behind him in turn 4, the number 24 Toyota Tundra of Josh Hanner. 4th place in the P-Money Designs 200, and he will be your inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour Series champion in that number 24 machine. Got some late season heat on behalf of Christian Peterson. A P11 not enough for that 71 to keep that challenge up, and the 24 going to walk away with the big hardware when it's all said and done.
All right, big congratulations for Josh Hanner. What a great season he had. Just phenomenal, consistent, lots of top 5s and 10s, and he finally got that win. He was searching all that first half of that season and just couldn't put it together. He would put together some great races, just couldn't close the deal, and had a couple second and third place finishes. But Josh Hanner, overall, great season for him. Congratulations to everybody for the inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour, and I think overall, Evan, it was a huge success.
It was an exciting addition to our Friday nights. You have the IROC stuff, which, by the way, that'll be part of next Friday's championship doubleheader when we give out the big hardware in the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series IROC stuff as well. But the trucks have been fun, and I think the change to the fixed setup is going to make things just a little bit more competitive. Tonight was an exciting race. Brandon Chaburko doesn't care what you throw under the hood. 5th time on the season, Josh, he took home a win. And for Josh Hanner as well, a great job to him being consistent all year, walking away with another top 5 in the title.
Yeah, everybody, came down consistency, just as we talked all season. Josh Hanner finishes the season with 8 top 5s and 11 top 10s. That's that's remarkable. Out of 15 races to have 11 top 10s, that's pretty flawless to not have really any big accidents, I guess you'd say. So, great job for him tonight. Good job for Christian Peterson trying to come around and finish and get to first, but unfortunately came up a little short tonight. I don't know if the setup really had any change in that, but great run for everybody's season. Great season 1 finish, and look forward to season 2.
Season 2 not all that far away, but your inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour Series champion tonight, Josh Hanner, walks that up with a top 5 finish. We'll talk to your top 3 finishers and your champion in a moment, and make sure you stick around for that. But as well, in just about 45 minutes, we go to the final race in the round of 6 with the iSuperspeedway.com iSuper Chase. Plenty of action still to come tonight on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Keep it locked, because the wrap-up from Homestead in Miami, Florida, coming up on the other side. We're back live at the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. Tonight's Peabody Designs 200 just now drawing to a close, and with that, the first season of the RoddCar Truck Tour as well will draw to a finish. Brandon Chiburko, your race winner, 5th time on the season, set the Rod flag P2 and P3. The championship stage getting rolled out. We'll get to that in a moment. In the meantime, though, we'll talk with your 3rd place finisher tonight, and as well 3rd place finisher in the championship standings into tonight, and we'll gain a spot when it was all said and done. P4 overall in the points for your 3rd place finisher tonight. Rod Flag caught up pit side with the driver of the 26 Rod. Congratulations to you. It was a good night. It was a good season. A little bit shy of, I'm sure, what you guys would have been looking for. Still no number in the win column, but you guys did improve, and you pad the numbers with your 8th top 10 finish here tonight at Homestead. You got to be satisfied with that performance for the first forte in the trucks.
Yeah, really good momentum, going into this last race, and can't say enough about just how good the truck drove tonight. It was phenomenal. So as soon as we got some laps in and got the tires going, we really were able to put the truck different places, especially 1 and 2 where others weren't. So we were definitely able to make the pass in 1 and 2 and run that middle to low groove. So really put us in a good position. And I knew that we had to pit on that last run, and to be in any position there. Chances were, especially a track like this, of the caution coming out is it's pretty small. So I knew we were going to need to pit, and had a great pit stop, and we were able to pass Josh there and get us into the top 3.
And with all of that being said, this race for the last one on the season coming 3 weeks really after what we had our most recent event, and because of that, 2016 brings a 2016 rules package that threw a curveball into this race, because after running the 14 races on the open setup, the season finale comes in a fixed setup. Josh Hanner really liked it. He got a top 5 finish. He gets the championship. Christian Peterson didn't have the best night. He comes up a little bit short. For you, though, you qualified 3rd, you finished 3rd. It looked like you were pretty comfortable behind the wheel nonetheless.
Yeah, and we made a lot of changes in the last 2 weeks, during our off weeks to really, the league itself has really made decisions and really wanted to go a certain direction, next in this current year. So we rolled out a set of rules, and even though our season still had 1 or 2 races to go, we decided to roll out the 2016 rule package. The main thing, especially in the trucks, was that the championship appeared to be clinched, so it was not going to impact the outcome, and it was a good opportunity for us to get the fixed setup out there and get a competitive race before next season out there before we go to Daytona. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to do that. If the championship was not official yet, I probably would not have made that decision, but at this point that was the right thing to do.
And with that being said, trucks get set to get back up on action for Season 2, which is not all that far away. We've still got to close out our round of duties here tonight, and then as well next Friday night as well to close up the iSuper Speedway and IROC stuff. So we'll let you get back down pit side with the crew, and I'll pass the mic over to Josh Ball, who's sitting trackside with our 2nd place finisher tonight, Seth the Merchant.
Yeah, I caught up with Seth the Merchant down here on pit road number 42 truck, P2 tonight. P3 in the standings throughout the rest of the season. How was it out there tonight, Seth?
A lot of fun. This track, really racy. You can use a lot of grooves, work your way through traffic pretty easy. One of my favorites. A lot of fun, though.
We're just talking about, the new 2016 rule package, fixed setups. I think it made a lot of the racing a little bit tighter, as we saw up here in the booth. I don't know about down there on the racetrack, but you walk away with 2 wins on the season. Tell me about it. Did it really, you think, change how everybody was driving out there, or made it a little bit closer racing?
Made it a lot closer between the front group. I could notice, the setups I know at least that we've been running the last about half the season haven't been the best, so I was really looking forward to coming into this race and being on equal stuff with everyone and seeing what I could do. But unfortunately, my internet was really bad for the first half of the race, so I couldn't even do anything till we got about halfway with the caution. Then we went green again, and I started lagging again. So I don't know, but The racing was a lot closer.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to be. And finishing 46 points out of the championship this season, I definitely know that there was a couple races that we saw that just didn't go your way. But I'm sure next season, 2 wins on this season. Your teammates Christian Peterson and Rodney Wofford both finished within the top 10 for six man. Anything going for next season? Looking forward to anything? Any new? You got anything in your back pocket to hopefully get the championship next year?
Well, I feel like going into next season, I know more of what I can do. This is actually, I think, the second championship I've run for, third on iRacing, something like that. So, having no chase made it real interesting, and I just need to be more consistent going into next year because this season I was real consistent at the beginning half of the season, and after that I fell off really bad, and made me fall really far down into the standings.
That's right. And Seth, good luck to the rest of tonight. I know you're going for the in the chase in the iSuper Speedway Cup. You got a good chance of getting the championship there. Any shout out sponsors you'd like to thank before we let you go and get ready for that tonight?
Just got to thank P Money Designs and Brandon Smizer for spotting me, and you guys for broadcasting, and Rod for putting on the league.
All right, that is Seth the Merchant, P2 for tonight, number 42 truck. Now I'll send it down to Victory Lane for the 5th time this season. Brandon Tuberco, Andy has caught up with him.
I am down here in the virtual Gatorade Victory Lane with the winner of the race 5 times now. The winner on the inaugural truck season tour, Brandon Tuberco. Congratulations again on a huge win for yourself.
Yeah, man, 9th place in points. I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, for missing 4 races about midway through the season, it really didn't deter you. The only thing that's got to get you doing is thinking that what if you were here for those other 4, we might be talking to you as our champion here with all these wins you were able to collect.
Yeah, good. First and foremost, good championship to Hanner. I had a lot of fun racing him and everybody else throughout the season. It was a lot of fun. I'm hoping next season that I don't get suspended for an extended period of time and I can actually race a full season to see if I can pull it off. I'm glad that Rod decided to make it fixed so we can see who the cream of the crop is.
Yeah, it is a cool thing. I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, with the open setups, you were able to get 4 wins on the season, and then they throw the fixed setup at you at the last race, and you still were able to come out on top. So as far as practice going during the week and getting ready for these races in the upcoming season, does it make it easier for practice? You don't have to really tune any setup. You really just have to get out on track and get the track time, right?
Yeah, like my boy Bon Tempe said, though, I'm just kind of handed setups, which is true. I got to thank Tom Moustakis for just throwing me random setups, and they're good. So I'm just kind of spoon-fed, and I get lucky to have Tom handing me setups. So thank you, Tom.
There you go. Well, now you can get spoon-fed the setups by iRacing. So either way you look at it, it'll work out for you. Obviously, a good season like this, 5 wins on it. You want to carry the momentum into next season. You obviously want to finish out the iSuper Speedway Series, not running for a championship there, but obviously Victory Lane still looms there for a couple more races for a couple more weeks. Talk about next season, obviously, with the fixed setups now and your chances at possibly getting in there, battling these guys for the championship and get your name up there on the top.
Yeah, well, I think ultimately it's going to depend on if we're going to throw in rules afterwards and then have me not be in the chase. So it's going to depend on what happens with that.
Very understandable. I'd get you all the way right there. Well, listen, anyway, you got the win here on the season finale. You get to carry this momentum into the race here in about 20 minutes or so. So we wish you all the best there. Obviously, though, like you said, you don't get it done yourself here. Any other sponsors or shout-outs you want to give here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank Jason Altman's Designs for painting me up my truck and having his lovely face on the hood. And I'll be debuting my new Good Wrench paint scheme tonight, so make sure to be on the lookout for that.
I know we will be, and we'll be excited to see that. So congratulations again, Brandon, on another solid run and another victory here in the trucks.
All right, thank you, Andy.
Well, there you have it. Your winner here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway. For the 5th time this season, Brandon Chaburko gets it done, but he missed a few races, so he's going to end up falling short of that championship. But I'm sure Evan's down there on the championship stage, and I'm sure he's there with an excited driver with Josh Hanner, and just a fantastic, consistent, very well-ran season for him.
He was able to get the job done tonight, and with the drop week, so coming to a conclusion, it's going to be by 19 points when it is all said and done. But a P4 gives Josh Hanner the inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour Championship. And to hand out the hardware, I'll pass the mic back over to Rod Flag. We gave him an opportunity to hop out of the fire suit, and we'll toss it over to you, Rod, to officially present Josh Hanner with the inaugural Truck Series title.
Yeah, Josh, it's been a great first season for the RoddCar Truck Tour. This was a creation of a lot of great racing, a lot of great drivers who wanted to see this happen as a preliminary event to the iSuper Speedway Racing Series, and now it's definitely put itself on a stage of being one of the best truck series in iRacing, and I am honored to present to you the championship for the RoddCar Truck Tour, and on behalf of all the drivers of the RoddCar Truck Tour and all the drivers of the iSuper Speedway Racing Series, I congratulate you on being the RoddCar Truck Tour inaugural champion.
Thank you very much. Really glad to be the champion. I think I've been with this series ever since way back in the Super Speedway Cup days. Never got to win one, so to finally win a championship in this league means a whole lot to me. So I really appreciate it, and thank all you guys.
That means that, Josh, to go along with the hardware that you picked up just a couple of weeks ago into Phoenix, you're going to get the nice big piece of hardware for getting the job done tonight. There was a lot, though, unknown coming into this race with the points and as well the 2016 rules package. It looked like business as usual for you out there in the conversation for a lot of the night to win this race. Qualified on pole, another top 5 finish for you to lock it up. That's 11 top 10s in the 12 races counted on the season. That's not bad if you ask me.
Yeah, we had a real good run. My goal for the whole season was to try and just keep it consistent. I mean, I wanted to win at least one race, and I did that. And any other race, I just felt like if I could get consistent top 10s and throw a couple top 5s in there, I'd be in good shape. There's a lot more competition out there than what I originally thought. We had some new guys come in. Christian Peterson comes to mind, and we're just so blazing fast. I thought he was going to win it for the longest time because he was really good every single week. Him and Seth, of course, and Chaburko. I feel like if he hadn't had some of that bad luck and missed a few races, he'd probably be sitting here right now because I think he won more races than anybody.
You get the P4 tonight. Chaburko with the victory lane picked up his 5th W on the season, and I agree with what Rod said, the fact that, we throw the trucks in here to kind of prelude everything that we see on Friday nights, and throughout the last now 15 races, the trucks have very much so taken a nature of their own. We talked a lot about, I know you mentioned to Peterson, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast tonight, some of the rookies, some of the newer faces on Friday nights that we saw be competitive in these trucks, and we said, although it's nice to always see new faces, that it's kind of fitting that it would be a seasoned veteran like yourself on the top of the pile at the end of it all. But for being just a new series overall, I'm sure that you're not going to object to walk away with a championship of any sorts in any scenario, but to be the first champion in these trucks has to mean a little bit extra to you as well.
Oh, for sure. It's really neat to win it the first time out. I kind of thought that maybe I would be in contention when this series was first announced, because I have a lot of experience with the trucks, and to actually have the chance to do it and then actually do it means a lot. And like I said, I've known Rod for a long time now, been with the series a very long time, more than just the 5 seasons of Super Speedway. So finally winning one of these, it just means the world to me. I can't even describe it.
A lot of time and a lot of effort goes into a championship like this, and tonight a very strong finish and a very consistent night as well, and I think that sums up your season very much so, that You just top 5 them, you top 10 them to death. You're the most consistent truck on track, and I think it's a well-deserved inaugural championship. Josh, I want to give you an opportunity, though, to maybe thank some of the people that made this possible for you, because as you said, it's a long time coming to be sitting up here.
I want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast, of course. You do a phenomenal job. I thank Rod for putting on the show. All the guys that have worked with me in the past and this season, Josh Ball, Tanner Mann, Jorgensen Jr., my new teammates, Stephanie Lessenton, Jared Haggerty, Ryan Keese, all those guys, just can't thank them enough for all the support they've given me, all the help over the course of the season, and we're looking forward to a great Season 6 with JR Motorsports.
And I'd like to preview the trucks and talk, on and on. However, I know that your business not done on the night. You don't even get to celebrate all that much because you got some work coming up in just about a half hour, looking to make it to the final round of the iSuper Chase and try to get 2 championships. So we'll let you go, Josh, and get set for that one. Best of luck, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you, guys.
Gonna file under that same boat is gonna be you, Josh Ball, as well. So I do want to let you get out of the booth and get going because you got a little bit of an action to come for you because you're sitting 18 points to the wrong side of that line. So I know you're gonna have an interesting go at it because part 2 of our doubleheader coming up in just over 20 minutes from Talladega. It's the final race of the Superior 6 round in the iSuper Chase. We're gonna toss it over to Talladega in a moment. Gotta wrap things up from Homestead of Miami Speedway. The inaugural RoddCar Truck Tour is in the books, and you haven't been behind the wheel. You've been up here with us. So what'd you think?
Oh, it was definitely a great season. Definitely sitting back and helping you guys out and talking. It was definitely a different experience. Haven't been up here before, so definitely different to see everybody's strategy, talk to the guys, see what, everybody's thinking, setups for the past most of the season, and then fix tonight. It was definitely a different experience and something that will help me out in the future, I assume. I'll be back next season for season 2. I'm gonna stay up here in the booth. It's definitely a nice change of pace for the night. So, but like you said, I got to go out there and basically win later on because there's no way otherwise. I think I get into the chase. So
you gotta win it, buddy.
I gotta win it. I did it last year. This exact same race. I won and got in. So that's the only thing I'm hoping
Probably
for.
Good habit to get into.
I know it's not a good habit. I'm gonna try though. It's we got a great paint scheme on the car tonight. Jason Altman's designs painted that as well. So we'll go out there and try our best. But hope everybody also tunes in for that. It's gonna be a great night and a couple new rules. So Evan and Andy will probably talk about that along with Cisco. And get ready. It should be exciting next couple hours.
He didn't say anything bad about us, so I'll take it as well, Josh. I do want to thank you for hanging around and chatting with us. I know we also had Haggerty with us for a lot of the Cup Series season. He's back on track, but we are looking forward to hanging out with you a little bit more in Season 2. So thanks for all of that, and good luck. We'll hopefully talk to you later on if you can get the points and maybe the W that we need. So we'll see you then.
Thanks, Evan. Yeah, I hope to be talking to you. Not you, Andy. Sorry, that's usually second place.
Yeah,
so I want to talk to Evan. Sorry, Andy.
I'll say hi. Hey, that's what we want for tonight. You got to make it so you talk to Evan.
Yeah, I got to make it so I can talk to Evan.
Andy will accept that, considering the circumstances.
I don't want to have to talk to you. Put it that way, all right?
Well, that's every night.
Oh God.
And this is just through one season of trucks. We're going to start again in a couple of weeks. We look forward to that. One championship has been determined. That's only the start because we've got 2 more still to come on Friday Night Andy, which I'm sure we'll be talking about tonight, and we'll be talking about as the week goes on. With all of that being said, though, tonight is the biggest race on the iSuperspeedway.com season that we've seen so far. Before we sneak into previewing too much of part 2 of our doubleheader, I want to get your thoughts on this truck series, which is now one and done.
It was phenomenal. I think it was a great series. I think it was a great season. Burko just, I think, stole the show with 5 wins. All the back-to-back stuff we had for about
back-to-back about 6-7
10 weeks in a row. I think we had a 5 back-to-back winners. So it was a great season. I think overall, I think Rod and all the drivers should be proud of it. I think it was a great. We had, the first few races had some, like we talked about early, had some trouble actually getting the whole race in, a bunch of caution. I think it was a bunch of guys just trying to get familiar with each other and get familiar with the trucks. But as the season went on, I think the races were fantastic. And, consistency won it for Josh Hanner. So congratulations again to him. And I think season 2 is just going to be that much bigger and better now that a little bit of change with the fixed setup. So I think everybody's on the same playing field now. And we saw how good the racing will be with tonight's race. So I'm looking forward to next season. We'll get a couple weeks off, but we'll finish up these big bad boys out there on the super speedways in the next couple of weeks.
The big time slot coming up next, prime time. It is time for part 2 of our doubleheader. The trucks, though, despite getting here 2 hours earlier every Friday night, it's been a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to season 2 of the trucks. All the information you can find out on all of this, you can go to isuperspeedway.com, or if you want to find out truck series stuff in specific, you can go check out the RoddCar Truck Tour information as well. All of that, though, now under the same banner at isuperspeedway.com. So we look forward to season 2 of the RoddCar Truck Tour, and we want to congratulate Josh Hanner for being your inaugural RoddCar Truck Series champion. But we got to send things to Talladega because your championship pre-race show for round 4 of 5 on the iSuper Chase is really just minutes away. So we'll be right back on LSRTV and iRacing Live. We'll see you in Talladega in just a moment. But what final time on behalf of everybody at LSRTV, for myself, Emma Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Josh Ball, and Laura Lawson, congratulations to Brandon Jaburko, a 5-time Truck Series winner on the year. But more so, congratulations to Josh Hanner, who walks out of tonight as the Truck Series champion.